Dan and James' latest property. This is quite a story actually. I'm looking forward to showing you guys. So we'll leave it to Dan and James. Here they are, look. Say hi. Hello. They've made me a coffee, so then we can begin the tour.
One in.
Oh, mate.
So this property is a 7-bed, 5-ensuite property that's currently being run as a Airbnb. We've known the landlord for quite a few months, haven't we?
Yeah.
And he wants a more sort of stable, hands-off approach. So he's come to us looking for supported living, and we have eventually found one that's willing to take the property on. So it's really high-spec property. So there's 3 bedrooms on the ground floor, 2 with en-suites, and as you would expect, it just screams service accommodation at the moment. This one is the first of 2 en-suites downstairs.
Yeah, very nice.
It's really high spec.
Such
yeah.
a nice spec.
Spent a lot of money on the refurb. So this area here, the supported living provider is thinking of keeping this as it is, like a little communal area, but also having that room in there as like a dining area.
Yeah.
So there's no need for like any beds or anything like that. And then that room would be for the staff members.
Because they'd be downstairs, there'd be staff members here 24/7. There'd be 4 service users and 2 members of staff.
This is the second ensuite. Get ready. Nice big kitchen.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it? I think this room was what sold it to him, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, they really like this room. And like me and James have been working with the landlord for a long time. So he's had bits of maintenance issues. So like this flooring was all coming apart. We got a contractor in to sort this all out. The fence panels, they were recently down. That's been all sorted and sprayed and everything like that. And so we've been trying to build this relationship with him for a long time. And he was interested in supported living from, as soon as we started mentioning that's what we were getting into.
Break it down. So how did you find the landlord, James?
Yeah, so I started my own estate agency business about 2.5, 3 years ago. And I was dishing out leaflets around this area, and then the owner of this property got back to me and said, I'm looking to sell, can you come have a look? And it was unbelievable. It was holes in the ceiling, it was water leaking through it, there was rooms upstairs that had cannabis plants in it. It was really, really bad. Obviously for my first one, it was like chuck yourself into the deep end sort of situation. It never sold, but he had plans to either sell it as it was, which was going to be really, really difficult for him, or put a lot of money into it and keep it as a HMO, or put it as a HMO. So fast forward 2 years, I reached out to him again. I joined the Rise Up mentorship program, so I thought, I know he was thinking about doing it as a HMO, maybe he would consider a rent to rent on it. He invited me around, and I was like shocked at how high end this property was after he'd done it. I started speaking to him about sort of social housing, supported living, how it works, the model and that sort of thing. And from that point, really, he was really interested because he wanted a more hands-off approach. He was earning really good money from service accommodation, but he wanted that more hands-off, and you don't have to worry about it for 5 years, but just that stable income. So as Dan said, it took a long time to get to this point. But yeah, we've eventually got there, and hopefully in the next sort of couple of hours we've got it over the line.
Yeah. So you made a connection with your social housing provider, and 4 service users in here.
Yeah.
So when you told the landlord that, how did he feel? Like this property that started out as an absolute dump, he's invested a hell of a lot of money into it, and now it's going to be a house that is looking after people. How did he take? Because obviously you connected the dots, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the perk of it being, obviously with the Airbnb, it's great and he was making a lot of money, but it's also, it varies, right? It goes up and down. So the previous 2 months, it has been empty. So he wants something consistent. We told him it's going to be 3 to 5 years. They take care of pretty much all of the maintenance as well. So that was huge for him. He's based in London, so he doesn't want to have to keep coming back here for little issues and things like that. So he's going to be completely hands off. And obviously it's also a really good cause, isn't it? Like we were saying, me and James met the tenants that are going to be moving into here, the service users, and just seeing them come in and how excited they got about the prospect of living here was really heartwarming.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We've passed that sentiment on along to the landlord as well, and he's sort of fully on board with it, isn't he? So
yeah, it's amazing because now his house is helping people.
Yeah.
Like you said, you met people that are going to be living in this house.
Yeah.
How buzzing they were about the rooms.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
an amazing house.
Yeah.
It's a massive change of mindset, because from what we were doing rent to HMO, just putting working professionals in there and just keeping on top of it, making sure everything's all right with the property.
Yeah.
With this one, you really feel like you're doing a lot of good by homing someone who really needs it. And you just get a different aspect to it.
Yeah, completely different. Yeah, much more fulfilling.
Yeah. So this is the first ensuite on the first floor.
So we've been speaking with the providers and the landlord about whether or not they want it furnished and things like that as well, because it was the option of, obviously it's expensive furniture. We weren't sure whether they would want it or not. There is a room up there as well. Yeah, this is the communal bathroom. So it's pretty high spec, but I think they've come to the agreement and they're going to take certain furniture, so be pretty much ready to move in for them. Again, another ensuite in there.
Smart TVs in every room as well.
Yep. Another room in here.
So is this going to be for 2 people? Or?
I think they'll probably only put one person in here. Yeah. They would probably take that one down and put their own in here. But then large bathroom in there. And then there's one more room upstairs, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah, this is so cool. Such a nice space.
Yeah.
So did you meet the tenant that's going to have this room?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Did you see them see this view?
No, we didn't follow them all the way up throughout. We kind of just let the provider kind of show them around, and some of them needed like some support to get around and stuff like that. So what they will do is they'll install certain bits to make like accessibility easier for certain like bathrooms. There'll be like grab rails and stuff like that.
What about the actual staff? Are they excited to live here as well?
I think they're more excited than the service users.
Yeah, they were buzzing.
Yeah.
Obviously, they won't live here full time, but they'll be like swapping over. But yeah, everyone was buzzing about this place, wasn't they? Obviously, it's so nice.
It is very nice. So walk me through. You tried multiple attempts to like get this property under different strategies. So what was attempt 1? What was attempt 2?
Yeah, so we had, our original plan was rent to rent, wasn't it? Just straight rent to social housing. So the provider pays us a certain amount, we pay the landlord a certain amount, and we make that money in the middle. Because of originally how much the landlord was making on Airbnb, he wanted quite a high rent. So we were trying to get that, but it was just too much. The provider couldn't pay that much. So we had to come down to the point where there wasn't really enough margin in it for us. So what we said to the landlord, okay, well, we'll find you this tenant, and we'll be charging X amount for the a finder's fee essentially. And then it got a little bit later on down the line, and we were like, oh, hang on a minute. What we could actually do is basically act as a letting agent. So we collect the rent from the provider, and then we pass it on to the landlord, and we charge a 15% fee sort of thing. But because we lowered the rent to a certain extent, the landlord would just prefer to take the whole rent, knowing that obviously with the provider in here, it's pretty much completely hands off anyway. So it was kind of like, well, do I need you there on standby? Even though we've been helping him with loads of maintenance issues, and we think that there is still scope for us to get the management later on down the line. At this point, we've just, because we built such a good relationship with the provider and we didn't want to let them down or try and risk the deal, we thought, right, let's just put these two together. Let's take our fee and build a relationship with not only the landlord, but a provider that we know is looking to expand and grow and continue to take on properties, and they're happy to work with us. They wanted us in on the deal. They originally settled on 3K for the rent. The landlord wanted a bit more if we were going to be managing it. So we went back to the provider and they said, well, we'll pay extra if you guys are going to be involved in the deal, because we understand the model. So went back to the landlord saying, okay,
the provider was willing to pay more
to have us involved.
You guys to be,
exactly, because we understand the model, we understand the sort of people that are going to be in here, and we can relate that best to the landlord. Whereas that's where providers struggle. They struggle to put across who's going to be living in here and how to sell it to a landlord, and the language that you have to use with the landlord to get them on board, to see the benefits. So long story short, we've settled for a finder's fee. We're charging the landlords the first month's rent, and then the provider's just getting the property. They're going to be moving their tenants in, and we're going to be able to do future business with them. So it's
not all straightforward sometimes, is it?
No.
You need different angles. and that's what you've done. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I mean,
executed it perfectly.
the biggest barrier to entry from a provider's point of view is getting properties over the line direct to landlord. But we can portray it in such a way where, because we've had experience in doing it, it's just a case of explaining the model correctly, all the benefits that go with that, and we get more properties passed to us on the basis of moving on to a supported living provider than it would do if a provider was to take on themselves. Yeah, so that's why the provider up the rent to have us involved in the deal, because we understand the model better than what a landlord would.
I think that's the good thing about rent to social housing, is that there's so many different angles to it. There's the rent to rent, there's the rent, well, there's the getting the provider in and acting as the managing agent, and then there's the tenant fine fee to the landlord. But you can also charge the provider a fee as well. Now, we've not done this in this case because the relationship with the provider is worth more to us now than just that finance.
Yeah.
So
look at the property you've given them.
Exactly. Yeah. So they would be willing to pay a fee for this, probably the same as what the landlord's paying us. But we think there's definitely more. There's more introductions that they can make for us with other providers as well. And there's a lot more properties that we could go on to do with these guys as well. So we just thought, let's give this one to them as a sweetener. We'll charge the landlord because he's only got one property in this area, and let's be done with it.
Yeah.
And we can move forward on good terms with everyone then.
Yeah, amazing.
So,
well done, guys.
We've got a lot of providers, but really you only need one decent provider who's looking to scale and can move quickly on deals.
Yeah, same with estate agents as well.
Yeah, exactly. Same,
Repeat business. They trust you. They know you act fast.
Yeah.
You deliver an amazing service.
Yeah.
It's just building that relationship in the first place. And once it's built, everybody wins.
Yeah.
And then you can scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So well done. I think you've executed it perfectly. Property is stonking.
It's insane.
So nice.
It's insane.
Happily have this house.
Yeah.
So, well done. So that's it. That's Dan and James' latest deal. Yeah, amazing place, amazing deal. They structured it very nicely with the landlord and the provider, and they've worked hard to get it over the line. So they deserve to be paid the tenant fine fee. I mean, that's what landlords are expecting to pay with estate agents. So yeah, it's £3,300 in Dan and James' account for a tenant fine. But like I said, the landlord would pay that to work with an agent. So to give his house to a provider that's going to be looking after people and they're buzzing by it, it's nice for the landlord as well. So yeah, cool. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, all those shenanigans, and I will see you guys on the next one.